Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Are y'all having a good time at Icon? A really, really, really good time? Wow, are you excited to be in this session today and learn how to grow your business? Oh, did you hear that? Half the people, they're like, yeah, come on. How many really want to grow your business this year? Awesome. Thank you. I like that. Well, I'm really happy to intro and open for Ollie Billson. You guys are going to learn quite a bit today. I know I've already learned quite a bit talking to Ollie. How many of you know Ollie or in his community at all? A few of you? Great. So a lot of you are in for a treat. Ollie is an Infusionsoft trusted advisor, which is a huge, huge distinction. We don't just trust anyone to work with us. I think that's a big, big deal that Ollie's been a trusted advisor with Infusionsoft. Another thing that's very important, how many of you know Dan Kennedy? Heard the name Dan Kennedy? Yeah, many of you know Dan Kennedy, kind of the godfather of automation and CRM. Ollie and his team helped build the funnels for Dan Kennedy. That's like saying you're not going to get to talk to LeBron James. You're going to get to talk. See how good it is? Even a light squad, power, boom in the room. This doesn't mean you're only talking to LeBron James. You're talking to LeBron James' coach and trainer. And that is legit. You feel me? Awesome. Another thing is interesting, so many of you know GKIC, another organization that does great marketing and partners with Infusionsoft. Ollie and his team are their marketing agency. Just a few more things, and I think it's important to know who we're listening to. There's a lot of speakers that you can be listening to. We're honored you took the time to join this session and hear Ollie and his team. Ollie was the first UK partner. That's a big deal. Infusionsoft has a lot of partners. He was one of the first that said, listen, guys, I want to jump in. I believe in this, and I want to help you. I want to help you grow this whole ecosystem. Not only is Ollie and his team based in the UK, how many people from the UK here? Okay, good. Thank you all for being here. But also in the U.S., and I would dare say probably, my word's a global operation. Hey, this is the web. And last but not least, before I bring Ollie up, what I'm most excited about, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started a number of businesses, and it's always interesting to me to not just talk to an academic. Everybody can do that, but to talk to an entrepreneur, a fellow business owner who knows the pains and the joys of entrepreneurship and running your business. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, can you join me with a big, big round of applause to welcome Ollie Billson to the stage.
Pleasure, bro.
All right, man.
Thank you. He's quite excited, isn't he? Well, I'm going to try and continue with that energy as the best way I know how. So first of all, thanks very much for coming. Very much appreciate it. Looks like it's a full house. So I'm super excited about sharing really kind of what's working now, not just for our own business, but for the clients that we work with, as Raymond said, pretty much all over the world and some pretty influential folks. So we're going to be talking about really what should be familiar to everybody here as Infusionsoft customers, which is what we coin the term as dynamic response marketing. It's where we marry proven direct response marketing with marketing automation. And when you couple those two things together, when you marry them together, you can have some extremely impactful results for virtually any business. Now, I'll just get this out the way early. Infusionsoft have said to me, please make sure that you show this slide so that people can review your session afterwards. So I'm sure that you're going to do this, and I encourage you to do it as we at the end of the session. So let's just talk a little bit about what's on the agenda, what we're going to be talking about, and what you're going to discover in the next 60 minutes. Now, I'm going to be talking about 12 step-by-step strategies that are working in real businesses and different businesses at that, that are dramatically increasing lead flow, conversions, actually converting those leads into sales, and actually having a full life cycle that's working within the business that the business owners are leveraging to get fantastic results. Now, I'll be honest with you, there are lots of things. I speak on a few different stages, and we're fortunate enough to work with some pretty amazing businesses. And so there's a lot of things that I could come and talk about, a lot of things that I could come and share with you. But for me, the big distinction is coming away from conferences like this, that you're actually going to take something and you're actually going to take some action on it. You're actually going to implement and go and execute on what you learn. Because to be honest with you, congratulations for being here. You made a great decision. But the sad fact is all of the notes and all of the things that you're going to take from this session are going to be useless to you unless you actually do something with it. So what I want you to think of as we're going through this is what's going to be your one thing that you're going to take away from these 12 different steps that you're actually going to go and do something about. And it's the difference, I'll be honest with you guys, nobody needs more information. Who would agree with me? Who would agree with that, right? Nobody really needs more information. The fact is there's a big difference between information and transformation, right? And so hopefully what I'm going to share here is exactly how you can go and leverage this in your business. And although that some of the things I'm going to talk about may be familiar to you, you might have heard of before, I can make a virtual certain bet that nobody in the room is doing these things exactly the way that we're doing it. And my promise to you is when you do take action on one of the things that we're going to talk about here, it could have a profound impact on your business. And I don't say that lightly because there's lots of people that talk a good game, but as Raymond mentioned, we actually do this. We run a real agency. We aggregate a lot of information of what's working now, dealing with high-level Infusionsoft owners that are sending millions and millions of emails a month, as well as not just their email marketing and their sales conversion, but actually their workflow in their business and using and leveraging the application. So I know that this works, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So if you're looking to create automated, personalized, and dynamic lead to customer experiences, which you're going to see how this all kind of plays together as we go through this, fully leveraging Infusionsoft with proven direct response marketing and marketing automation. This is definitely for you. And probably the most key thing is actually getting a result on the back of being here, which is that you could double or triple your business in the next 12 months or less as a result of it. So for those of you who don't know me and haven't seen me before or heard me speak, I started my first business when I was 15. I've never actually worked for anybody. I'm very much unemployable now, for sure. So I've been very fortunate to build 4 quite successful businesses in different sectors. I'll talk about those in a few moments. But one of those businesses we took from scratch as a startup business to becoming an international franchise in less than 5 years with 170 franchisees, all predicated on fully leveraging Infusionsoft and the power of Infusionsoft and the principles I'm going to talk about here. I've got a 9-year-old son, Spencer, and a 3-year-old daughter, Sienna. And a couple of my businesses are all in the automotive sector. So as well as the agency, we're still running these businesses because I'd set up the systems, some of the things I'm going to teach you here, that allowed me to step away from it, which is, awesome for me to still be part of that because I am a complete self-confessed petrol head and car geek. And the other thing you should know about me, and it's fairly self-indulgent, I guess, is that I love watches and expensive ones. So anybody that wants to come up to me and speak to me later on about what I'm talking about here, also talk to me a little bit about what car you got and what's your favourite watch. I'd love to be part of that conversation. So here's my little family. And who here is that your first Infusion icon? Okay, quite a few people. Okay, cool. So let me tell you a little story. So my first InfusionCon, as it was called back then, now called Icon, was back in 2012. And I came over here as a user. I've been an Infusionsoft user now for probably 9 years or so. And we were one of the first people in the UK to actually have Infusionsoft as an application. It was just when Infusionsoft had a really high setup fee. It was like $10,000 to get involved or whatever it may have been at the time. And we'd been using and leveraging the software, and we'd been using all the legacy features. And I don't know any of you guys who may not know this, but legacy was a little bit more challenging to get on with. But once you wrapped around your head around it, you kind of got used to it in a while. And I decided that I'd take the trip over to the States to come and to come and spend some time with what I would regard to be my second family, because these guys really care. They really care about your business, your development, and what they can do to help you grow. And that was quite appealing for me. It kind of resonated for me, and I'm sure it does you too. But one of the things that happened in 2012 was Infusionsoft released the Campaign Builder. And this is my son Spencer here. I'm a Manchester United supporter, if we've got any in the room. It's a mood point, I suppose. Oh, by the way, just for the context of the recording, because this is being recorded, I've watched a lot of Icon presentations back. And every time somebody tells a joke, if it's bad or good, quite frankly, nobody can hear you laugh or not laugh. So they laughed a lot, okay, at that. I can just say whatever I want now, and they won't be able to hear you. Anyway, I came back from Icon 2012, and I was super excited because I saw that finally I might be the person that could come out of the weeds as the implementer of the legacy, the dark side of Infusionsoft, and actually start building systems and processes to train other people how to build effective Infusionsoft campaigns using Campaign Builder, which pretty much everybody now knows well. Anyway, one of the things you may not know, and I hope, hopefully stand corrected that you still get this, but as an Infusionsoft user, you also have what's called a sandbox application. Everybody has one of those, or should have, and Infusionsoft give it to them if I'm wrong now. But I still have one. And when I came back, my 5-year-old son at the time, Spencer, he said to me, oh, I want to kind of learn Infusionsoft. And he's a bit of like a geeky little kid. I thought, yeah, okay. Here's this sandbox application. So he went in there, started playing around. And one day he turned around to me, he just went, Daddy, do you want me to show you my campaigns? I was like, it's a little bit bizarre. Of course, just jovially, fine, show me then. And as you can see here, even with the spelling mistakes, still ends up with the goal of, it's a note template. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't use those. But bought from Spencer, spelled B-O-U-R-T. So he knew what he was doing, that's for sure. So I love him to pieces. But in fact, another funny story, just to show you how geeky he is today. I went into his room it's about a month or so ago now, and he got one of these new Alexas. I went into the room and he said to me, he said, what is it? He said, I'm staying in bed. I said, you need to get out of bed now. He said, well, I'm staying in bed. I said, come on, get out of bed. You know what they're like, these kids, right? Yeah, okay. Alexa, turn on the lights. And the lights come on. I'm like, what? Yeah, I didn't even know you got that. I went on Amazon, ordered it himself. Hilarious. So anyway, these are some of our different businesses. Some are obviously in the automotive sector. We've also got a number of different agencies that's all based around Infusionsoft, Agency X. You may not know this, but you should do now, and I'd highly endorse you go and listen to it because it's free, is a podcast that me and a friend of mine, Tom Breeze, does, which is all about traffic and conversion. He's a YouTube ad expert, and we're classified as a conversion agency. So I'd highly endorse you go and have a look at that. And where I spend pretty much all of my time now is in our done-for-you marketing agency, aptly called Oliver Billson. And so we work with high-level business owners and entrepreneurs, grow their business, and work with some very big companies, authors, trainers, consultants, speakers, industry transformers, whatever they are. We deal with a load of guys as well as bricks and mortar type businesses. And so the things I'm going to share with you here are out of those businesses. Now, one of the key concepts that I'm going to talk about here really revolves around this quotation of big doors really do swing on little hinges. It's the little things that make a big difference. And everybody has a very powerful and effective tool at their fingertips with Infusionsoft. And some people get quite confused when it comes to Infusionsoft that they think it's going to radically transform their business overnight. And it's because they don't focus their attentions on the little things that actually do make a big difference. And those little things are often quite simple things that come back to proven direct response marketing principles that everybody's been using for forever and a day. And yet we seem to, in the morass of embracing technology, we actually lose sight of what's important. And when it comes to you as a business owner, there are three things that are important. One is getting customers. The second is keeping customers. And the third thing is making a profit. Agreed? Right. So really that's what this is about. So let's kick off with one of our first sections here, which is capturing more leads. Now, I'm going to fully attribute this to the man in the back of the room here, Mr. Ryan Chapman from Fix Your Funnel. If you've got any Fix Your Funnel users in, you'll enjoy some of this presentation. That you always need to know how you're going to sell something before you go and lead generate. Okay? Because there's lots of ways to go and cheap ways to go and buy traffic these days and buy media. But, and people get really, excited and turned on by the things that are out there, the silver bullets, creating these funnels that people start talking about. But yet they don't really consider how they're actually going to sell to people before they start generating leads. And so sometimes they'll be generating all these leads and then say to themselves, hold on a second, I actually need to have a conversation here in order to convert them from a lead to becoming a customer. So without that foresight, you're not really going to go anywhere. You're just going to end up spinning your wheels, which isn't very helpful. So one of the things that I firstly want to introduce you to is talking about how you can capture more leads using text marketing, and as we put it in the UK, SMS marketing a little bit more, so that you can effectively communicate with the device that is in everybody's pockets. I'm sure everybody will agree. I mean, you've got your mobile phones with you right now, okay? It's a very different feeling getting a text message to getting an email. I don't know about you, but I get emails. My email box is overflowing. And so when you can fully leverage the technology that's available with Infusionsoft now to capture more leads using SMS, you afford yourself and your business a much better opportunity of following up more effectively in a different modality. And the fact is that there is also a byproduct of this that's also very important as well. That having the ability to capture people's phone number gives you the opportunity to open up channels of communication that email just simply can't touch. But more importantly, it opens up channels of communication that are important for a sales conversation. Who here has got a business that relies upon somebody having a human interaction with them? Right, okay. So when you consider the fact that you may not be using this right now, it's predicated on capturing their mobile number when it comes in, right? So you can see how effective this can be. More importantly, with all of the communication that's going on right now and tools like Google Inbox that make it super easy for you to one click and just archive everything, this is becoming probably one of the most important shifts that's happening in our community and for most business owners. And right now, you've got the opportunity to ride the wave. And the fact is that you can start capturing more leads with SMS from all different kinds of sources. So let's have a look at them. I'll talk a little bit about our website in a few moments. But podcast, if people start asking, you start to speaking to people that have got podcasts, some people will say, I've been apprehensive about starting a podcast because I can't really understand what the ROI is for my podcast. Well, here's the thing. If somebody's listening to their podcast, they're probably only an arm's length away from their mobile phone at any time. At the end of our podcast, I'll often ask them, hey, text in this keyword and we'll send you the show notes. Or we'll send you the guide or the workbook. And then I can initiate an automated follow-up step afterwards from my podcast. Direct mail, I'll talk about a few moments. Magazines from Stage, I'll actually demo that with you today so you can see how this works. And we've got something pretty cool in there that works extremely well. And also Facebook advertising, and specifically Facebook lead ads, which we're going to talk about. So from your website, now you've got the ability with tools like Fix Your Funnel to, with one click from a website, automatically open your messenger, and somebody can send a message to you with a keyword. You can immediately begin to have the context around the conversation of where it came from, that they came from the website. or what page that they were on, and you can initiate a proper sales dialogue, a two-way conversation. This is quite frankly transformational for most sales teams, or if you're a solo entrepreneur and you're the person that has to speak with the customer, you can have a very low-friction conversation with somebody because people get scared of speaking on the phone. I'll be honest, I don't like speaking on the phone when I'm just inquiring about something. This offers a very low-friction way with one click to immediately start a sales dialogue with somebody. In addition, we're actually using this, and have done for a very long time, to use SMS capture, text capture, with display advertising in newspapers and magazines. And we do this a lot with our clients as well, with direct mail. And one thing I'll tell you for sure, the more ways that you can offer somebody to respond, if there are multiple ways for people to respond, you've got a much better chance of being able to generate a lead. If you've got a lead generation postcard campaign, I can absolutely guarantee you when somebody receives that piece of direct mail through their post box, through their mailbox, I bet their mobile phone is a lot closer to them than going to a vanity URL, which is a bit cumbersome to type into their web browser and get to. That's for sure. But also, we've actually seen real-world results that are getting really shifting responses for us wherever we've put a telephone number, a vanity URL, and now we're giving them the option to actually text a keyword in. We're seeing a big spike in response. And guess what? Because we began with the end in mind, because we began with the fact that we have to have a sales dialogue with somebody in order to convert them to a customer, we've now got all of the contact information that we need to start moving that person forward to the point where, hey, does it make sense that we could jump on a call real quick to talk about it? And so you can see here the flow of how that works. That somebody texts in, we tag them in Infusionsoft with, more importantly, we don't just tag them. Who struggles with kind of lead source tracking and things like that a little bit, right? Well, everybody should be tracking lead sources. The real beauty with this is we can track lead sources very, very quickly and easy with Fix Your Funnel is our tool of choice. We can tag them appropriately. We can even tag them to which step that they've been through. Step 1, they gave us their first name. We asked for their first name. And this is all automated up until the point where we're actually then delivering the report then via email, so that we're mixing the modality up. And then there is additional automation on the back end of that to then text them and start what we call, well, we call it a conversation starter, to say, hey, you received the report, did you have any questions, question mark. It's a humanized conversation. And sometimes we get a long way away from that as marketers, especially when we've got tools like Infusionsoft that can be very powerful, but we forget that we're having conversations with humans, real people. And the other thing that's really nice with this is I don't really like leaving things to chance when it comes to human beings. I've come to learn this from growing a few companies. Meaning, if somebody calls that tracking number, I can definitely, track the fact that an inbound call came in. But maybe, and I know there's software to do this out there, but maybe I want to record that call. Maybe I want to set the lead source from that inbound call. I want to track everything to attribute everything together for all of my marketing efforts. And more importantly, I want to sync it perfectly with Infusionsoft. You can do that very easily with text messages. And this gets even better with some traffic sources. So who here runs Facebook lead ads in their business? Okay, a few people. So here's the distinction that came to my attention some time ago, was when we came back from looking at how we were going and selling to people, which was through webinars at the time. We knew that after the webinar, we needed to actually get people's contact information to get on the phone with them because we know that they'd shown some interest. Now, and this is an example from Trent's business, from Fix Your Funnel, one of the businesses that they help. And you can see here that they're actually giving them the opportunity, would you like the video instantly text to you? And actually, if you click on that box, it's yes, no, or maybe. It pre-fills all of the information for you with a Facebook lead ad if you're not sure how this works. Facebook means that you haven't got to go and create a landing page. You haven't got to go and get into ClickFunnels or lead pages or whatever you choose. Everything happens inside the environment of Facebook. It pre-fills the information, which means it's usually accurate, and it will pre-fill their phone number if Facebook has that, and we can immediately sync this information with Infusionsoft. We can reach out to them with a text message and deliver what we promised. Now, here's the thing. If you, with 2 taps, are able to enter your information in, you're not going, and if you're on the device that you actually responded with, the delivery mechanism needs to come back to that device. I'm not going to capture this information, then I may begin an email conversation as more of a long-term nurture play, but really, I'm going to deliver it to them because they responded off their mobile phone, therefore I'm going to deliver it through their mobile phone. And it's going to give me the opportunity to have much more attention on getting people to where I want them to be, which in this case is getting to watch a video. Now, I spoke at GKIC Super Conference a couple of weeks ago, and before I went there, I did a Facebook lead ad, and I said, can we text you a link to schedule at the event so that we could begin a sales dialogue? And so we used Facebook lead ads to do that. We followed up with text messaging, and I did about $5,000 worth of consults at the event. Very, very effective. We had the attention of people from the device that they'd initially responded on. We can also do this as well, where we're asking them a question. Would you like to speak to an advisor? So this is where then we can then move people towards actually having meaningful sales conversations with people earlier on in the sales funnel. And so you have this congruency between the response mechanism and the delivery mechanism, meaning they're on a mobile device, we are sending them something that is going to come to their mobile device. You're not worried about open rates, you're not worried about anything like that. It is going directly to their mobile phone. We're capturing a lot more information in doing so using the media, and we're able to allow those people to then take the next step. And interestingly, we often create micro contingencies with text messages that if they fall off, we'll then begin starting the conversation with them again by saying, hey, I noticed that you'd requested the video, but you didn't go and watch it yet, because we can measure the consumption of the video even from the text message that we send them, which is very powerful. This is also the case with other media traffic platforms like Google AdWords. Who runs Google AdWords here? Cool. So there's a little tool, and this is quite new to us anyway, but this is an example from one of our businesses. It's called a click-to-text message extension. Another perfect way of utilizing SMS text marketing with traffic, just like Facebook lead ads, but with Google. So that when somebody sees your ad on them, because you know that they're searching on their mobile phone, they can click, it will pre-fill the information and automatically send a keyword to quote and begin an automated conversation to the point where somebody's telling you exactly what point they want you to call them back. Is that pretty cool? Yeah? I'm not sure it warranted a clap, but just for the record camera, that was a huge round of applause. Okay, cool. So this is going to be something that you're going to hear a lot more about. The fact that as marketers, as business owners, we're taught to focus our attention on cost of lead, cost of customer, lifetime customer value. A metric that we're trying to get clearer on is actually the cost of having a conversation. And as the proof is in you guys, most people put their hands up to say that they need to have a human dialogue with somebody before they decide to make a sales decision, a buying decision. Having a conversation with somebody and having it in a very low friction way with text SMS marketing really affords us a different channel that I'm absolutely certain that most people are not using or leveraging fully in their business right now. Okay, cool. Everything okay so far? Are you with me? Okay, good. So let's dive into, so we're now capturing more leads through a different modality that probably most people aren't really fully using right now, that now you're aware of, and a few ways to do that. Let's talk a little bit about capturing more information. Now, I see this, and again, it comes back to what we spoke about before, which was begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says. So think about this. If I have a longer sales cycle and I'm selling a higher ticket thing, the chances are somebody is going to want to consume and absorb and engage with my sales material. In my world, the best way of doing that is actually having something physical that you can put in somebody's hand. Okay? Now, if any of you guys out there are selling, well, really anything, we do this just with normal free reports or lead magnets that are even checklists. On the second step, when somebody opts in, we don't have a dead thank you page. We ask for more information because it allows us to then follow up with a different form of response, meaning we can go offline. So we can go online to offline, and we can get the attention that we need, just like we were saying before. And so right now, if you've just got a thank you page when people opt in, first name and email, and then the next step is just thank you, we've sent you the free report or free checklist or whatever, that is a mistake. Give yourself the opportunity to either segment those people, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, or capture more information. Because if people are going to, and people will give you this information, so why not take it? It allows you to facilitate a different mechanism to follow up with. And I can absolutely assure you, people are not leveraging direct mail like they should be. What we generally do here in this example, and I'm going to show you another part of this in a few moments, is this is part of an automated, how I grew one of our franchise businesses to 170 franchisees internationally in 5 years through this exact step-by-step process. Sending somebody a physical pack in the mail by collecting this information in the post, and then continuing to do multi-step, multimedia follow-up online and offline with Infusionsoft, all through Infusionsoft, because we were capturing more information. Now, I promised you I'd share with you a couple of things that is working now. And one of them is also using the same approach for webinars. Who does webinars here? Live or automated? That's cool. So one of the things that we do, we actually ask on the thank you page for them registering for a webinar. And granted, there's some technology considerations here, that obviously if the webinar is every Thursday or every Tuesday, you need to think about how you do this. It depends what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to sell. We actually back out the webinar so far in advance that it affords us the opportunity to actually follow up offline to deliver something in the mail. And that's the reason why on the thank you page after they've registered for the webinar, we actually ask them, would you like a copy of the Fast Start implementation and note-taking guide for the webinar rushed out to you free of charge? Okay? They enter their information. You'll also notice that we're also asking for their mobile phone number there as well. So now we can introduce that text messaging media as well. And we can deliver the handouts to them in advance of the webinar, which increases the show-up rate. It pre-frames the content that we're going to talk about on the webinar. And more importantly, it pre-sells them on the opportunity. It certainly increases webinar show-up rate. And this doesn't work in every single market, but at least this is broadening your horizons to what the different opportunities are with this. Okay, let's talk a little bit about social sharing post opt-in as well. So again, people are opting in. Let's think about how we can now, beyond the opt-in, be able to incentivize people to share the offer. So this is one of our thank you pages, and it says they're opting in for a free 4-part video series. And it says, I've just sent you the first video in my essential video series. Step 1, watch this video. And I explain in the video, thank you very much. Now, before you leave this page, what I'd love you to do is actually share a link to the opt-in page for the video series with your friends, family, colleagues. And when you do and you refer 5 of your friends, I'm actually going to unlock a bonus video for you which I think you'll find helpful. And so we can unlock a different bonus for them, and we can change it depending upon which channel. So if they refer us, we know that it's more likely that if we get more leads coming in from Facebook, they're probably going to be higher quality for people sharing them. They might be with Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. So we can incentivize that to say, we'll give you 2 points for every Facebook share, but only 1 point for every Twitter share. Okay? Very, very effective. When we did this, we were getting, free leads. I mean, who doesn't want free leads and free traffic? Straight into our video funnel. I mean, traffic coming into it, we were buying for about, I think it was about $6 a lead for the video series. But of course, that lead cost gets cut in half when people start referring that opt-in page to you. It's very, very effective. So let's talk a little bit about boosting conversions now. Now we're starting to generate more leads, and I've introduced a few other ways of doing this, both post-opt-in and pre-opt-in as well. Let's talk a little bit about segmentation. Let's just go back to basics for a moment. Let's talk about the avatar of your customers. Who here has more than one avatar for their business? Okay? Different types of potential customers that are coming towards you. My guess is you might be treating them all the same. Whenever you can align the message to market match, when you can dive into their pains, their desires, and influence and compel people based upon understanding them, when people feel that they're understood, it gives you a better chance, and certainly to generate a better relationship with them. It gives you the chance to instill more of a know, like, and trust relationship with them, and they feel understood. That's very powerful. And so how do you do that? Well, we do this by what we call front-end profiling. Here is a typical landing page here, which is giving people the opportunity to opt in for a free guide. Now, here's a little trick. The free guide is actually a framed-up sales letter, okay? But it's a free guide. It offers value in advance, information first, like you should be doing, but has a sales message, has a sales offer associated to it. But what we're doing is we're actually trying to bucket up the 3 different avatars at the beginning of them opting in. Now, a lot of people will say to you, well, the more information you ask for in advance, it's going to decrease the conversion ratio on the page. At the end of the day, guys, I want the people that I can ultimately get the right information for to stand myself the right chance of actually converting them. And that might mean, in some cases, I might actually ask for full contact information, and I might, because I know I need those, that information in order to follow up effectively, and to, more importantly, to convert them into being a customer. In this case, it really didn't change our conversion ratio just by asking these questions. The thing for you and the takeaway for everybody here, if you've got a free report or a checklist or even a free video series, whatever your offer is, it's super easy to be able to do this. Just ask 3 questions. We're selling a business opportunity in this example. People part-time, bolt-ons, or a full-time career looking for a career change, that's how they're looking to get started, have very, very different desires and pain points and problems to each other. And in case you were wondering, well, maybe if you're honest with yourself, you haven't really gone through the exercise of defining your avatars that all too well. Here's the right thing to do. Come out of here, go and make sure you're asking this question to segment up. I would advise no more than 3 different buckets, 3 different parts to this to follow up effectively. And start asking for that information now. Start collecting that data. And then in Infusionsoft, export it all and find out where your market is so that you can spend more money and time on those leads that have more of a propensity to convert. You might find that your marketing is completely misaligned with the majority of people that are coming towards you. You could reduce the cost of your traffic and so many other advantages by doing this. And so when we begin to profile these things, we can then have a very aligned message. So here's sales letter 1 for the person that was looking for a full-time business. It's a different video sales letter. It's also a different headline, different video sales letter. Who else wants to earn £2,000 when remapping vehicles part-time? 12-minute video sales letter, 3 of them, all of them completely different, all based on the information that they gave us to begin with. How a business owner spots demand in the market and starts his black code engine remapping business as a bolt-on to his existing business. And so we create this flexible content based upon the profiling of the people as they come through the funnel. And so for each avatar, we can tailor the pre-headline, the headline, the video sales letter, the sub-headline. We can even tailor the opening. We can use testimonials to overcome objections. When people have seen other people just like them get somewhere with your product, service, they feel more understood. They feel in good company. But they're not all the same as each other. The bullet benefits are different. Even the close is different to the sales letter. So the copy can be flexible. And you can break this down for each of your avatars. Let me show you how this works for a completely different business. It just so happens, by the way, that we use the same kind of branding. I just thought I like the Soviet look. I don't know why. I don't really like the Soviet look, by the way. That was a joke. But it seemed to work. This one is different. So we're asking them on the front end, what's their biggest problem or challenge? They're opting in from Facebook, Google AdWords for this. More clients, more money, less time, more authority, credibility. I need help getting started. So, sales letter 1, more clients, more money, less time. Discover the one simple thing that took my coaching business from struggling to attracting clients. Different headline, different subhead, more authority and credibility. 3 different video sales letters, 3 different sales letters. All of it with flexible content based upon those 3 buckets. Is that helpful? Yeah? And so my analogy with this is really it's the difference between spraying and praying, aka shotgun, versus being a sniper rifle, because you're speaking very directly to them, and there is a tight alignment of that message to market match. It stands to reason. This kind of goes back to what I was mentioning right at the beginning, that often as business owners and marketers, with all of the different technology options that are available to us, sure, there's a little bit of understanding here of, okay, so they filled in this box, they have this tag, based upon that tag, take them to 3 different thank you pages. Sure, everybody knows that they can do that. But very few people think about the direct response element to this, and the messaging that's associated with it is wrong. And people wonder why their offers are not converting, and they're not converting more customers because of it. Cool. So, I know that a lot of people have been taking notes, which is great. If you take out your mobile phones, I don't know why they laughed, and text icon to this telephone number. Sir, what are you doing here? Oh, he's doing it. I was just going to tell him off there. He was subtly doing it under the table. Now, there's quite a few people doing it, so there might be a little bit of a delay. I'll give you another chance to do this in a few moments. I'll leave it up on the screen on one of the slides here, just at the bottom there, in case you missed it the first time. So let's talk a little bit about post-opt-in segmentation. Now, we spoke a lot about what we're doing on the thank you page, on the front end profiling. Let's talk a little bit about how we can profile people on the back end. So, I don't know about you, but when I started talking about direct mail, if I was in your position, I would be slightly perturbed by the fact that I don't really want to be sending expensive direct mail to everybody. Okay? I only want to be sending it to the people that are most interested, and are telling me something about themselves that is going to be meaningful enough to indicate that we should send some direct mail to them. So this is how we do it. We do this post opt-in segmentation. I'm going to go back and forwards and play. And so, have you previously trained as a window tinter? Now that in its own is quite telling for us. I don't want to be sending our sales pack if they've already been trained. On a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in attending a window tinting course in the next 6 months? Conditionally based upon the radio button, this is just with gravity forms, by the way. It's very simple. If they have a 7 out of 10, it then says, okay, what's the best time frame for you to get trained within? And then also, what's your budget investment level? So I start to gather more information progressively, which gives me the right profile information, which then allows me to do logic-based qualification. So I can say, okay, great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you? If it was 1 to 4, I'm just going to send you email and SMS follow-up, okay? If you scored 5 or 7, I'll do email, SMS, and I'll start to initiate some kind of sales dialogue with you. And then if it's 8 or 10, I'm spending my money and my energy on the best people, then I will do all of the modalities and put them into Infusionsoft in 3 different buckets to follow them up appropriately. Very simple. We usually use this as the 3rd step on a front-end lead funnel. So we would capture first name, email, and this works very well, by the way, for internal house list promotions. If you've got a list, a database of unconverted leads, you don't know much about them, and you're doing some kind of offer, this is very good to send your existing database to that landing page, because we spoke about lead ads and some of the opportunities with that before. With this is very, very effective. And so then we can spend our time and money on the best people. So you can segment for more personalized follow-up. Okay, so we can actually merge some of those things, those investment levels, into even a letter, into a direct mail piece, let alone an email, because we've captured all of this rich information. We can spend more time and more money on the most qualified leads. We can tailor the frequency. We're going to talk a little bit about recency, frequency, tracking very soon, but this is very important because we don't want to, I don't know about you guys, but with Infusionsoft, does it feel sometimes that you might be bombarding people, but you're not really sure? Would that be fair? You're just not sure? Well, this is a great way for you to tailor that follow-up appropriately so that you know that it feels right to you that you're doing the right thing because they told you. And so people honestly don't know what they want, but they know what they don't want. Okay? And they're telling you this information. This rich information is very important. We can reduce the cost of direct mail, and then we can engage our telesales team by initiating a conversation starter through text message to get them people into a sales dialogue with us as well. Now, this is also the case for when people become a customer of yours. So who here has heard of net promoter scoring, or at least have it set up? Okay? It's probably one of the most basic things that most people could do as a new customer welcome. We've actually started doing this now with text messages. You can tell I'm quite hot on that at the moment. Where we'll actually ask them, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer us to your friends, family, colleagues? We used to do this a lot with email. We still do if they don't respond with text. But with text message, they can just text back a number, and then that can go into Infusionsoft and trigger the automation so we can then follow up with them appropriately. It's the same thing with post-purchase segmentation, because the people that are promoters, the people that say 9 or 10, what am I going to do? Right, so I'm going to get them to go and give us a review. I'm also going to initiate my testimonial getting and my referral getting campaigns because they told us that they were happy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about improving the consumption of your content. Now, this wasn't one of the slides I was going to put in, but because of the fact that I really wanted to I really wanted to impress upon you that shift that has happened with mobile, that everybody knew was happening, but people may still not realize how big it was, okay? And so text messaging using conversation starters is a great way of improving consumption of your marketing messages. And so, I know this is difficult to see, but this was a text conversation that I had with somebody. I did it as a broadcast text message initially. I'm speaking at GKIC Super Conference next week. Are you attending? She texts back, yes. And then I had one of my team say, great stuff. Look forward to seeing you. By the way, I'm setting up a few private client consultations while I'm there. Are you interested? Yes. It initiated a conversation. But this lady hadn't opened any of my emails. Hadn't opened any. I'd done a full warm-up campaign. I was so annoyed. The copy was crafted perfectly. I had her email address. I thought it was going to work so well. She came straight back on text message. It worked. Great, I'll add you to the invite list. Does everybody see how powerful that is? Yeah? Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm guessing most people have that front end off of that lead magnet that we're all told and indoctrinated in that we have to start generating and building a list. But the sad fact is, with people's attention these days, you're not getting their attention, you're not getting the readability, you're not getting the consumption. People aren't listening to what you've got to say. I don't know about you, I opt in for things all the time, and then I never go and look at them. How many ebooks have you downloaded, or white papers, or reports, or checklists that are sitting in some dormant email account, not doing anything because you just got distracted? And people are moving between devices all the time at the moment, from mobile to desktop to mobile to desktop. People are all over the show because we're bombarded with conversations. So, does anybody know here what the consumption is of their free information? Quite telling, given the fact that no hands went up. See, the thing is that we like to encourage that. We like to encourage the consumption. So what we do is we create these dynamic deadlines. So even for free, not sales, we're not trying to sell anything, we offer, and I would encourage you to offer premium content. A lot of people say to me, oh, well, I could, this is out of my training course or out of my membership site. I could sell this. I'm selling this stuff. Yeah, give away your best stuff. Make sure it's good and hold people accountable for actually going to watch it. How do you do that? We can preset a deadline date in the future for somebody to go and read or watch that, read that report or watch that video, and we can follow up based upon that deadline date. So we can say, hey, you downloaded the report, this goes away in 14 days. The video is only going to be left up to this amount of time. When they click that link and it expires in Infusionsoft, after that time, they'll go to an expired page. Sorry, you didn't watch it. It's a great way to encourage people with some urgency and scarcity to go and consume your free information. And what's best, in an automated fashion, you can be completely congruent with your follow-up because it can automatically expire, and people will come to respect you and know that when you make an offer to them that they should go and consume it and go and watch it. This is the same thing for video. So often we create what we call, to increase the engagement, increase the consumption, we use these two different paths. This is in a video series, progressive and non-progressive. Now, people can move from being non-progressive to becoming progressive. They can move through the funnel. And when they engage and watch more of the video, they consume more of the video, they become progressive. So we can start to hit them sooner, faster, stronger, based on their actions. And so we can also make sure that in doing this, and we're setting up these milestones and contingencies, we can then follow up with people effectively and tell people, hey, by the way, I noticed you didn't watch video 2. Let me just give you a recap of what you missed. At timestamp 3 minutes, you missed me say this, and that's your follow-up email. There's no more copy to write. Really, really easy. You just tell them what they missed because you know that they didn't take that step. Video makes it easy for you to do that. The other thing that we like to do is we had a client of ours that had a very successful book funnel. They were sending a physical book out in the post. And one of the ways to start lead generating for that book was not to have it right at the front as an offer. We actually put a video series in front of it. But then what we did is, based upon the consumption of the videos, we triggered in Infusionsoft an email to go based on how many of the videos that they watched to say, hey, we want to send you a book for free, because we know that they'd consumed the right amount of information. So we sent them to a page to capture their address so that then we could go and follow up with them effectively. And of course, if you run a membership site, one of the key indicators for you should be, hey, did you watch the welcome video? Because if you're doing a 60-day or a 30-day free trial of your membership site and they don't go and watch that welcome video, if you don't go and measure if they watched it or not, if they watched it at all, the likelihood is they're not going to stick around as a member for very long. So make sure you're setting these consumptions up. The other thing is something called dynamic remarketing. Now, with tools like SyncSumo, this is very easy. In all of the campaigns that we build in Infusionsoft, I would advise you and advocate to you, you use statuses within your campaigns, meaning people are moving between milestone to milestone. The bits in the middle are the contingencies. The milestones are the goals. And at each goal, at each milestone, there is a status. So let me give you an example. We dynamically create a Facebook audience when somebody registers for a webinar, but they need to show up. So on their Facebook timeline, when they register for a webinar, we're now serving an advert saying, thanks for registering for the free webinar. Now that is going to increase the show-up rate, but more importantly, it's actually also going to start to indoctrinate them about what they're going to learn to pre-sell them as well. So then we can dynamically serve up people that registered for the webinar but didn't show. So now we're encouraging them, so don't miss out on this free webinar replay. The topic of webinar replays is a little ambiguous, but we're not going to go right into that right now, but this is something that we do a lot. In addition to that, what happens if they showed up to the webinar but didn't see the offer? We can dynamically, at that status of the Infusionsoft campaign, serve up with a Facebook audience those people and serve them this ad. Watch the webinar replay. And again, what happens if they showed up and they saw the offer but didn't buy? Well, they obviously had some objections. So let's dynamically serve that information to them and send them to a page where they can get some additional training to close them on the offer on the webinar, if you didn't get it the first time. Now, this last section here, I'm going to go through a little quick. So I know that you're definitely going to want to take this, but there's one part of it at the end that I want to share with you that's really, really important to everything. So I don't want you to miss anything. Engagement. Now, you can kind of get analysis paralysis here, but I just wanted to broaden your minds to some of the things that we track and look at when it comes to recency, frequency, and monetary tracking, RFM as it would be. Who's heard of that, by the way, in the past? Okay? With Infusionsoft, it's very possible to do that level of tracking, to get that granular, to know what's working in each of your different funnels and have a snapshot of all of that information. But some of the things that we measure are number of logins that I've made. So if you're running a membership site, I want to know, I've got a KPI, I've got a measurement of, you need to log in so many times within a certain amount of time in order to kick off different automation, which I can do with Infusionsoft. Also, if you, who puts out regular blog content? Okay, so one of the things that we do is when people click links from our house list, when we send out information about the new blog post, we'll actually append their details to the URL when they click the link in the email and know how many pages that they visited beyond that click. Because the more pages they visit, they may just get an email that says, hey, I noticed you checked out the site today and went to a few different places. Is there anything I can help with? initiating that conversation. Number of form submissions, number of referrals given. All of these actions have a reaction attached to them, okay? Number of reports downloaded. If you've got a lot of reports or access that they can get from your website, we count all of those in custom fields. And when they reach a tolerance, we run different actions off them. Number of consecutive actions. And then we go into more of the buying behavior stuff. Number of subscription cycles so that we could use Fix Your Funnel to send out some cookies in the mail with send out cards, right? Because they become a loyal customer. Number of videos they watch, number of inbound calls. How many inbound calls have we had to the support team? All of this can be managed. Number of decline payments for collections. If something keeps declining quite a lot and it reaches at a certain point, you, in your finance division of your business, need to do something about it. The other thing is email engagement. Now, there's some very dangerous statistics with email, and one of the reasons why we're such an advocate of SMS. When you look at the people that actually opt in but have never engaged, one of the reports that we look at from an Infusionsoft customer perspective when we take over a new account all of the time is people say, oh, I've got a list of like 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, 150,000. I'm like, oh, brilliant. Let's look at how many are marketable but not engaged. Who knows about that report? It's quite a telling report when you consider open rates, click-through rates, monetization of that list, and how much money you're making per subscriber. And so we measure all of these statistics inside Infusionsoft that they've never engaged, but they just downloaded a report but never engaged. It's a telling stat. All of those that we're losing, that are falling away, 30 to 60 to 90 days, then we initiate follow-up to try and get them re-engaged. And sometimes what we'll do is we'll automatically re-engage those people that are falling off and then purge away those people that are just not with us anymore because we just don't want them clogging up our system. Or better, we can actually then dynamically serve those people up using SyncSumo, for example, into a Facebook audience to immediately be delivering ads to them because we know that they became not engaged. And we want to re-engage them. We want to lead generate with them. We want their latest contact information. And of course, Gmail actually monitors your engagement anyway, so you could be hampering your deliverability just by the fact that you're not keeping up with these things. So a great way to do that is incentivize your list with free gifts to see if they're engaging over time and monitor 60 to 90 days beyond that of what's happening. Okay, 2 slides. I have a few minutes left. I want to share a story with you before we wrap things up. Who here found this really helpful so far? Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Who here is really disenchanted by the fact of the number of what you get from your social media activity, what investment or energy you put into your social media, free traffic? Who's disenchanted with that? Who finds it frustrating and tiresome to keep putting content out? Okay. Who here writes their blog but really doesn't know if anybody's really reading it? Sweet. What if I told you that there's a way of being able to share other people's content that's really valuable to your audience and to dynamically serve up your offer, your opt-in on their website? Imagine if you were able to serve up a pop-up like this one here on the Infusionsoft website. Would that sound pretty cool? Okay. So you'll notice here, this is me, and I'm serving up my pop-up to opt in for our video series on the GKIC website. Now, I can do this in a number of different ways. See, what I like to do is in my nurture list, and I hate doing this stuff, and our team does as well. For our clients, we know we have to do this, but what do we do without just continually generating more and more content? We create a weekly digest email of a roundup of all the things that we've curated around their industry on the web. Everybody can do that, can't they? They can find articles that they'd like to link their audience to. But here's the thing. When they click the link from the email and they go to the Huffington Post, they go to the Infusionsoft website, they go to GKIC, they go to oliverbillson.com, you are controlling and hijacking that link. Meaning, it's called link cloaking, meaning that you're in control of it, and 3 minutes into them reading that blog article, or a minute in, or 30 seconds, you can serve up a pop-up to them. Pretty good, right? And also, we create these things called fishbone articles. So when we write blogs, I never really create any new content. Sometimes, well, on the Oliver Billson site we do, but for clients we don't. We create a fishbone article, which is a listicle of 12 things in their industry, and just do a little excerpt for read more that links out to other people's sites. So every single link, when they click it, goes to whichever link, and then we can then dynamically start serving up these pop-ups. And so you can also use it on Facebook. You can now go into Meet Edgar or Hootsuite or whatever you use and start repurposing, curating, and pushing out other people's content and using that link to put an Infusionsoft web form on other people's web pages. Completely legally, it's fine. And here's the beautiful thing. You can also add your Facebook remarketing code and your Google remarketing code to those links so that you can then dynamically begin serving things to them on social media. Cool. So I really am out of time, 2 minutes over. So I just want to share one thing with you before we leave each other, and I'm sure many of you will conversate with me over the next few days. I will certainly be around. I haven't just flown over from the UK just for this. So I came to InfusionCon in 2012 with an existing business that we were trying to grow. And it had reached a very interesting point. And I had really doubled down on my focus. What was really important for me at that time was picking something that I had to focus in. It was one funnel that turned out to be some of the examples that I've shown you here today. And I went to lunch with a guy called Mark Chelsea. Mark's not with Infusionsoft anymore, but he was the CTO of Infusionsoft. Now, I didn't know who Mark was at that time. I came to know that he was the CTO afterwards. And I'd had my head down in the weeds, focusing, taking action and implementing only on one thing. That one thing for you might be one of these 12 things that I've shared here. And Mark started asking me and questioning me about my business over lunch, and I'm slightly ashamed to admit this, I got quite emotional because I didn't realize how far I'd actually come, and actually there was something about my journey with Infusionsoft that was quite unique. And what was unique was I'd actually taken some action and done something. So my gift to you, hopefully, on the back of this, is that you will move your business from wherever it is now to wherever you want it to be, just like I did in my own business, and you'll focus on one of the things that I've shared with you here. Thank you very much. And what I greatly appreciate, nothing would make me happier than I appreciate everybody who's come, but out reviewing Ryan, please. So if we could just deal with this, that would be very appreciative. Thank you very much.